All right, let's talk about something that can literally save your project from descending into total chaos. We're diving into traceability tools for requirements. Let's get right into it.
Okay, you know the feeling, right? You're deep into a project, things are finally moving, and then, bam, everything changes. The whole plan gets thrown out the window. Maybe it's a new feature request or a budget cut. Whatever it is, it just feels like chaos. You're left wondering, how does this one little thing affect everything else? Well, that's exactly the problem we're going to tackle today.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at what happens when projects go off the rails. Then we'll talk about the solution, your project's roadmap. We'll cover how to read that map, why it's so important, what tools you can use, and finally, how you can become an expert at navigating it all.
Okay, so Section 1. Let's zero in on that moment, that exact point where a project starts to drift off course.
So, picture this. You're a BA on a big marketing campaign. You've got it all mapped out. Social media, newsletters, a landing page, the works. And then, out of nowhere, the client decides they want to pivot. They want to go all in on video ads. So, now what? What tasks just got blown up? What does this do to your timeline, to your budget? It's right here in this moment of panic that traceability becomes your best friend.
But that feeling of total chaos, it actually has a solution. And it all comes down to having the right map from the very beginning. That brings us to the core of our discussion today, requirements traceability. So what is it really? Think of traceability as your project's roadmap. It's what lets you track every single requirement, from the moment it's just an idea, all the way through to the final product. It's the ultimate guide that makes sure nothing gets missed and, crucially, lets you see the ripple effect of any change instantly.
But just like with any map, there's more than one way to read it. Depending on what you're trying to figure out, you can look at your project from a couple of different angles. Let's break down the different types of traceability.
You've basically got two main ways of looking at it. First, there's forward traceability. This is like looking ahead on your road trip. You start with a requirement, say, we need a new landing page, and you follow it forward through all the steps, design, coding, testing. Then there's backward traceability. This is like checking your rearview mirror. You look at a finished feature and trace it all the way back to the original request. This is huge for making sure extra, unapproved stuff, scope creep, didn't sneak in.
But here's where the magic really happens, when you put them both together. That's called bidirectional traceability, and it gives you the complete 360-degree picture. You can look forward and backward. You can pick any requirement and see everything it touches down the line. And you can grab any finished piece of the project and know exactly why it's there. It's the whole story, from start to finish and back again. Okay, so we've got this map. It sounds cool, but why does it really matter? What's the bottom line? Let's get into the key benefits that make this whole thing a game changer.
I like to think of these benefits as the 4 key destinations you'll reach. First, it helps you navigate change. You can see the full impact of any new request almost immediately. Second, it's a huge quality check. By linking every requirement to a test case, you make sure absolutely everything gets tested. Nothing falls through the cracks. Third, it's a lifesaver for compliance. If you're in an industry like finance or healthcare, this gives you that perfect audit trail you need. And last but not least, it just makes communication so much clearer. Everyone, and I mean everyone, is on the same page about what's going on.
So a map is great, right? But in a fast-moving project, you're not going to use a paper map. You need a GPS. And that's exactly what traceability software is for your project. Let's take a quick look at some of the big players. You've probably heard of Jira. It's a beast for agile teams, great for linking user stories to everything else. Then there's Azure DevOps, which is more of a full, all-in-one package for managing the entire lifecycle. If you're in a heavily regulated industry, something like Helix RM is designed specifically for that tough compliance stuff. And hey, if you're on a smaller project, a simpler tool like RecView might be all you need. The most important thing is to find the right fit for your team and your project.
All right, you've got your map, you've got your GPS, so how do you become an expert navigator? Let's talk about the best practices that'll get you there.
Here are 6 steps to really mastering this. It all starts with number 1, define your requirements clearly. I'm talking SMART criteria, specific, measurable, you know the drill. Because if your destination is fuzzy, your map is useless, right? Then you link everything up. But I want to call out number 3 specifically. Review and update regularly. This is so important. Your traceability matrix isn't something you set and forget. It's a living, breathing document. It's only useful if it shows you where the project is today, not where it was a week ago.
Okay, let's jump back into our marketing campaign scenario. Remember that? The client calls, they drop that bombshell. We want a new video ad.
And of course, all eyes turn to you, the BA. They ask that million-dollar question. So, what's this going to do to our launch date and budget?
And this is the moment of truth. Instead of panicking and digging through spreadsheets and old emails for hours, you just open up your tool, let's say it's Jira. And because you've already linked everything together, you can see it instantly. Bam! This new video ad hits the landing page design, it changes the email newsletter, and it impacts these 3 specific development tasks. You have a real data-backed answer in minutes. That's the power.
So, let's recap how traceability literally saved this campaign. You didn't guess the impact, you assessed it instantly. You kept quality high by tying the change to new test cases. You kept everyone in the loop with a clear plan. And you made sure the whole project still made sense by tying it all back to the original goals. It's about turning that sudden chaos into calm, controlled clarity.
When you boil it all down, what traceability really gives you is this. One single source of truth for the entire project. And when everybody is looking at the same map, it's a heck of a lot easier to get where you're going.
All right, let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. Remember, traceability is your project's roadmap. It's your best friend for managing change, making sure quality is top-notch, and staying compliant. Tools like Jira make it super practical to implement. And the 2 golden rules? Define everything clearly from the start and keep that map updated, always.
So this isn't just some abstract idea, it's a real tool you can start using right now. And that leaves us with one final question, and this one's for you. Now that you have the roadmap, where are you going to guide your next project?